name's Fanula and this is my second video on the Jack the Ripper victims. The first victim was Mary Ann Nichols and we will now be going on to the second victim, Annie Chapman. Annie was born Eliza Ann Smith in 1841 in Paddington. It's believed she was born in September, but again there's a lot of contradictions as to the actual date that she was born, so I will just say she was born in September 1841. Annie was one of 5 children and had light blue eyes and dark brown curly hair. She stood at exactly 5 foot tall. Annie's dad, George Smith, was a soldier, and much of Annie's life when she was younger was dictated as to where her father was posted, so it was mainly between London and Windsor. George Smith would later go on to commit suicide when Annie was 22. I couldn't find much information on Annie's mum, so that will be all on her parents. It's reported that Annie first started drinking alcohol when she was very young. This will be a recurring theme in the story of Annie's life, her dependence on alcohol and the problems that this caused her. It was said that her siblings tried to get her to stop drinking, but she couldn't. So in a lot of ways, you can't blame people at this time for wanting to escape their daily lives and turning to alcohol to do so, or any other sort of drug. It seems that there was so much sadness and poverty and there's no social mobility or meritocracy that you can't really escape the hand that you were dealt, because you couldn't just go and really, for the most part, go and educate yourself and find a better job, especially for women. You know, your choices were things like being a seamstress or working in the home. If you couldn't afford to have a home, then what was your alternative? What were you supposed to do with your day-to-day life? Back to the story. So on the 1st of May 1869, Annie married her paternal relative, James Chapman. I couldn't find out how they're related. I think they were cousins. They lived in various West London addresses, so quite nice areas they were living in. The couple had 3 children. The first, Emily Ruth Chapman in 1870, Annie Georgina Chapman, born 1873, and John Alfred Chapman, born in 1880. Sadly, Emily Ruth died in 1882 on her little brother's 2nd birthday from meningitis. John Alfred, the little brother, also had physical disabilities, and they put him into a home where his needs could be properly met. After their daughter's death, Annie started drinking very heavily. In 1884-5, the couple decided that it was no longer viable to continue this relationship and parted ways. However, much like our first victim, Mary, Annie relied on her husband's weekly payments to her, as he was still financially responsible for her. Annie received a total of 10 shillings a week, which in today's money, this would equate to about £33.09 a week. Not a lot of money. This figure was also for 2017, like the conversion rate. They don't have the 2020 or 2021 figures, but you can assume it would be a pretty similar figure, as there hasn't been that much change in the value of money. However, one day these payments ceased. Annie sought to inquire after her husband as to why these payments had stopped. It was revealed to Annie that her husband had died. It seems that Annie then began engaging in sex work after her husband died, as she had no way to support herself anymore. However, she did try to supplement her income by doing some crochet work, but it wouldn't be enough to survive on alone. Annie made a neat macassars, which are like the cloth, like lace sort of materials you see over old people's chairs, like, you know, like armchairs and like the headrest. You've got like that cloth over the edge of them to stop like the fabric underneath becoming spoiled or damaged, so she could make those. So it seems Annie didn't really recover from the blow of losing her husband. She was already suffering quite a lot from grieving from her daughter, so after her husband died she really started to drink. She became very ill after her husband died, suffering from a disease of her brain, tissue and her lungs. It's thought that this could have been like a side effect of tuberculosis, or it could have been a symptom from syphilis, but they weren't 100% sure on what it was. It was expected that Annie would have died very soon from her illness if she had not been murdered. On the night of her murder, Annie was going out to go and make money to secure the payment for her bed for the night in a lodging house, the same as Mary Nichols was. So before she left, she had a pint of beer in the kitchen with one of the fellow lodgers called Frederick Stevens. Annie went out, got herself some food at 1:35 AM and came back to eat it. She went out and she got herself a baked potato. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of historical figures feel so far away and like disjointed from ourselves in the modern day. So when I read that Annie went and got herself a potato and came home, I was like, that's just like a normal thing that we would do. Just have a potato, like a jacket potato after, you know, coming back from work or whatever. I don't know, it just made her feel a little bit more real. Annie then went out to go and make the money to secure her bed for the night. So the cost of her bed would have been 8 pennies, which in today's money would be £2.21. Annie's body was then discovered later that night at 29 Hanbury Street. Her body was found lying next to a set of steps, with her head near the steps, lying alongside a fence. Annie was found on the 8th of September 1888. Annie was buried on the 14th of September 1888. Annie was also laid to rest in a communal grave within Manor Park Cemetery in Forest Gate in East London. The exact location of Annie's burial site is actually unknown, and she was buried in an unmarked grave. But in 2008, the officials of the cemetery laid a plaque in honour of Annie being buried there. So that concludes my second video on Annie Chapman, the second victim of Jack the Ripper. Yeah, so I'm now going to go on to the third victim, who is Elizabeth Stride. Thank you for watching.